Hello, everyone. How is everyone? Hopefully, everyone had a great day. I did. I went to the dentist today because this weekend I lost my crown. Bit down on a piece of cheese, no less. Just a piece of string cheese, nothing even horribly wrong. That wasn't even a piece of candy or a piece of anything that's sticky. Just came out of my mouth, and I'm like, something's wrong. And so I fished in my mouth, and there was my crown. Told my husband, I said, we have a problem. I said, we have a problem. I think I need to call the dentist. And he's like, does it hurt? I said, no, because basically I have a root canal, so I basically don't hurt. There's nothing there. He's like, just call him on Monday then. It's not really an emergency. And I'm like thinking to myself, well, there's a hole in my mouth. I kind of think that's an emergency. He's like, well, if it's not hurting, then it's not really an emergency. And I guess he's kind of right, because you don't want to really call the dentist on an emergency and have an emergency bill. But so all weekend I had a hole in my mouth and had to eat on the other side. But it's really not horrible, but that was just kind of funny. So I called this morning and they got me in, and he re-glued it on. And of course, my problem is I first of all have a tiny little mouth. Secondly, there's not much of a tooth there for him to actually, first of all, when he first put it on, but secondly, to put this back on again. He's like, yeah, you have hardly any tooth there, but we'll try to glue it back on and see if that works. If not, we're gonna have to redo another one. I'm like, oh, great. So that was really fun. So other than that, I don't have any pain, and so, there's not any big deal, but it was just like, only me loses that. It was just funny. So anyways, hopefully everyone else had a better day than that was, but we had a great weekend. My husband redid the ceiling and in the bathroom in the hallway, the spackle. It's not really called spackle, but I don't know what it is. But he redid those two rooms because he wasn't happy with the one in the bathroom. So he redid those two rooms, and actually it came out better. He got a spray gun and did the texture, it's called texture. So looks really, really good. So I said, okay, well, now that you're texturing more space, can we actually redo more of the bathroom? So we actually tore bathroom apart more. We didn't tear anything down. I know, at least it didn't happen on my trip, huh, Mom? That would have been horrible. I just would have lived with it for 2 weeks, I guess. But I'm like, really? But yes, at least it's way before our trip. So hopefully it lasts through our trip, because the dentist said, I don't know how long it'll last. So if it comes out again, just come see me and we'll do something else. But I'm like, okay. So I'm just going to baby that side until we get back, because I don't know what else to do. So we're kind of ripping out the bathroom a little bit more. I mean, I didn't tear out anything. So I actually what I said to him was, can I take out the mirror and take out the light fixture and redo the mirror and the light fixture, and we're going to repaint and stuff. So the bathroom's just kind of a mess right now. So we're going to repaint it and do, new towels and new shower curtain and stuff. It's just a guest bath, so not much you can do. It's just a tiny little bathroom. So not any major remodel, but just something fun. Something new anyways. We're not tiling or vanity or any of that kind of stuff, but just, little bits of things. But I knew if he was having to retexture maybe behind the mirror, he might have to retexture. So, and he didn't. So, but that's good. But I didn't know. So while he was texturing, I thought if he should take down the mirror in case he should have to. So that was his fun project for the weekend. Anyways, so Halloween is a lot of fun. I don't normally decorate for Halloween, but I really like Halloween decorations and some fun Halloween stuff. One of my favorite rides, it's not like super high on my list, but I do enjoy the ride at Disneyland, is the haunted house. So I really liked this set called Tricks and Treats. And so I was trying to figure out something fun to do with this stamp set, and I was just really struggling with it, because I wanted to do something like the Haunted Mansion type of thing with it. And so I looked up the Haunted Mansion actually to see if I could get something. They don't really have like, it's really weird how the Haunted Mansion is at Disneyland. But anyways, so I just kind of came up with something kind of simple for a card. It's just because this set is a lot of fun and there's some fun stuff in this set. But we don't have any like witches, and we don't have, excuse me, we don't have any witches, and we don't have any trees. And so a couple of years ago, we had like these really spooky trees and some witches, which would have been really fun to go with this. We do, it does have a ghost in it, but it doesn't, the ghost that you cut out is not a spooky ghost. And so I was like, okay, well, it doesn't kind of go with it. So see, it's a cute little ghost, but it doesn't go with it. So I cut it out and I didn't like it. But so you could stamp the little ghost out of it. But so I just kind of did something else. So I did this card, and then I actually I'm going to do a different card actually. It's going to be sort of the same. So it turned out okay. But I'm going to kind of do it a little bit different. We're going to kind of sponge this piece, a sponge a white piece instead of this orange. And then the moon, I did a little bit different. So I'm going to kind of change it up a little bit. I'm going to kind of do some fun stuff with it. And then I forgot to put the white piece inside. So we're going to do this a little bit different. So for the card base, I did black. Of course, you can do it in any color, but I just did it traditional. So that's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Let's give it a good crease. All right. So this piece is, let me turn this way. You don't want me to see me. That here we're looking at. There we go. So this is your basic 4 by 5 1/4. And so what we're going to do is we're going to, all right. So I'm going to use a couple of Post-it notes to hold it. I usually just hold it with my fingers, but I think it's going to be easier if we hold it down with a couple of Post-it notes. My sticky sides. Kind of hold it down. You can do washi tape. You can do whatever you want with it. Like I said, I usually just use my fingers, but I think if we just hold it in place, it'll be easier to kind of work with. Okay, so now we got that all in there. So I played with one earlier today, and I don't know. I did a lot of orange, but I think I'm going to do a lot of yellow with a dab of orange. So I'm going to start with my crushed curry. And I'm going to start with my blender brush. Get it all daubed up. And I just kind of stamp off, and then I start off the side and then on to the paper. This has got a lot on it anyways, and you could just do some of it anyway and then rub it in. Because we're just going to want to get some color on here. I just didn't want it all white. And I wanted it to be more dark anyways, because white means it's daytime. Well, it's not really daytime. It's kind of at night when we didn't daub it off enough. Blend it all in. Down here, it won't matter as much, but I still want some of the color down here so it'll show nice. to be even. I want most of my color up here because that's where it's going to be in my way. And then I'm going to go on this side. You just kind of go in circular motions, and then you just get it to kind of how you want the color. And I just kind of wanted it more yellow. I think the yellow cast is going to be with the color that I'm going to want it, with just a little bit of the orange in there. So I'm going to bring in my orange, which I used pumpkin pie. And I'm going to just a little cast of the pumpkin pie. This gives it that little bit of the orangey color, but not too much. I think I'm going to stop with that, because the piece that I picked is more yellow. And when I did it before, I put orange and then yellow, and I didn't like it as much. But I just wanted that little bit of orange cast to it. And I didn't want a white moon. I thought white was too much. I thought white meant daylight. I didn't like the white, but I liked the yellow moon. Yellow to me meant that it was nighttime. So, but I just wanted a little bit of the orange cast to it. So I have to do my corners because you can tell when I put this on. So there's still a whole bunch left on here. Maybe not enough. Get that rubbed into the corners. And do this corner. This will have a black piece on it, so it won't matter as much, but I still don't want it to be completely white. Don't want it to look funny. I'm going to take some of this, a little bit of orange, rub it in again. Okay. All right, so now this is ready. So then I cut out the house. That's in the dies for the tricks and treats. So I cut the house out. So I want to make so there's a little bit of light coming through the windows. So I took my marker, actually the Stampin' Write marker, the crushed curry, And I just colored in here. So I just colored this a little bit. And it just looks like it's got some light coming through. That. And then I made a hill. So this is going to go on here like this. And I made the hill out of another border, and that border is, where is it called? I wrote it down. So it's called the Basic Borders. And I am going to stamp this really cute. This is out of the Bag of Bones. So I'm going to stamp his head and a little bit of his body up here, and then I'm going to stamp a tree as well. So we don't have, we have this tree set. It's called Forever Forest. It's out of our new Christmas. So to do that, I kind of positioned all this so that I knew where to stamp everything, and then I inked everything up and then stamped because I couldn't figure out where to ink everything. So I just stamped this or inked this. And I inked him. And put the house on there. And he is going to, I'm going to put him up by the house a little bit more. I think I'm going to put a tree down here. Okay, so I didn't even stamp it on the paper. Okay. See, this is really hard to do. So we're going to re-ink it. But I stamped it on the paper. There we go. And I want him to kind of show a little more than his head this time. He's kind of big, but he was really cute. So I did that. So then that's going to go like this, just a little bit above his head. That's cute. Okay, and then these little headstones are going to go on the other side. So let's put this back on. The house is going to go here. Then, oops. And then little headstones. And they all can't sit on there because of how this stamp is. So one will kind of just sit on there. Okay, so now I can glue this piece on there. We are ready to put that on there. Now that I've stamped all that, do that. It did take me a while today to kind of figure this out and put this all together. All right, and then I actually put dimensionals on the house. Actually, I put dimensionals on everything else because I just thought it needed to be popped up. Dimensionals, here we go. All right, so. And I had my little baby ones on here, but I'm not quite sure what I did with them now. There's some anyways. One in the little, okay. All right, so let's put the moon on. Again, I put dimensionals on the moon. I didn't stick those right, but it's fine. And to spread those out a little bit. All right, so. Okay, and then we'll put our house on there. And then the camera. Okay. Yeah, that's much better. Okay. Now let's stamp some bats. Some bats need to be on there. I got them going. There we go. Let's put the bats in the corner. Let's put some bats on the moon. Yep. All right. Okay. Now let's glue this to our card base. Oh yeah, I like that one better than my orange one. Okay, now let's stamp Happy Halloween, and I want to stamp it on with black. And this piece is, oh, I had it written down on something else. Well, you could just do a scrap piece, but I think it's like 1 1/4 by 2 3/8 or something like that. Okay, and it's really plain, and so I had an idea to take my crushed curry, and you can take a sponge, and you can, it's a big sponge, so you just cut it in fours, and then just brush it here, and we're going to do the edges. You could probably use the sponge that we already have, but we're going to just kind of brush it on the edges a little bit. Just kind of give it some dimension. There we go. That's so much better. Okay, and then I also dimensioned this, of course. So this is probably too many dimensionals, but we could probably just glue it, but I just thought it looks really nice. This might be a card you might want to just give to somebody. There's so many dimensions on it. And then, of course, you want to put a white card inside so you can write on it. This will fit right here. Oh, yeah, that looks better. And then we have these super cool glow-in-the-dark bats and ghosts. And these are so cool. So you can just take and it doesn't really come off of here very easily. I actually glue it on because it didn't, the sticky stuff came off. Yep, there it is. So I just put one of these little ghosts on, coming out of the little thing. The bat came off easier, and so I put one of the bats up here. And that is your card for tonight. And then this is the one I did earlier. So I do kind of like this one that we sponged tonight. Thanks, Mom. Yeah, I did this one first, and then of course after I sat and played with it, I was like, oh my gosh, this would be super fun to sponge it and try and do it differently. I mean, orange is good too, but I really liked sponging it, and I think that gave it a much better texture to it. And then of course I thought to sponge this because this, so I actually sponged this and this like the technique I just did with this one, because I didn't want a white moon. So I did do the sponge technique to those, but you know, it just is, it's different. So just something fun to do and something different to do. So just a little bit different ideas, but you know, obviously, you know, different. So it's something different. So I'm glad that you enjoyed them and you like them. I'm really glad. Anyways, I will see you guys next week. If you need anything, of course, in the meantime, just feel free to drop me a note and I can get back to you. But other than that, I will see you all next week. Have a great week. Bye-bye. Say add this stream.